This episode is special for two reasons. The first reason being it's brought to you by Mission 22. I'm going to read the boilerplate that Mission 22 sent me so you'll get an idea of what this organization does. It's a nonprofit that combats the ever-rising veteran suicide rate. Every day, more than 20 veterans are lost to suicide. Mission 22 wants to bring the number to zero. It does this with three main programs: veteran treatment programs, memorials, and national awareness. Mission 22 provides free treatment programs to veterans for service-related post-traumatic stress and other issues they might be facing. It organizes events and builds memorials to create social impact and awareness for these issues. Mission 22 also has an ambassador volunteer program for people to get involved with as well. Ambassadors educate the public on veteran issues, help get veterans into Mission 22 treatment programs, and create resources in their communities. Through these three programs, it enables a push for the betterment of our nation's heroes and stands united in the war against veteran suicide. I know I jumbled through that a little bit because I'm reading it off of an email, but this is a very important organization that we are thrilled to have any part of.
Mission 22 is dedicated to unite the country in the war against veteran suicide. Bringing our veterans home is every American's job. Ambassadors are creating impact in their community across the country. Mission 22 has comprehensive treatment programs for post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injury at no cost to veterans. This is an American issue. No matter where you stand, there's a place for your support. Visit mission22.com to learn more.
Dallas, who do we got on today?
Today's our very first guest. I'm thrilled to have on my uncle, Dayne Woop Woop Puckett. And Dayne is a legend in the merchandise sales industry and country music, dating back to the late 60s, all the way through the 70s, 80s, and he still does a little bit of it on the side with the Vandells. He's toured with Jerry Lee Lewis, Charley Pride, Merle Haggard, Dolly Parton, all these monster country music acts all through those years. He has stories for days. Please welcome Dayne Woop Woop Puckett.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
So Dayne, I want to thank you right out the gate for coming on, being our first guest. Very appreciative of you coming on. And I was telling these guys at the end of the last episode that, you know, obviously I've known you my entire life, but there's like this kind of mystery to you a little bit about your start and the chronological order of how you got to meet all the people in your life that you've gotten to know. Mm-hmm. And it's like I have 1,000 tidbits of your life, but I've never actually sat down with you and kind of heard it all. So I don't know if we're going to hear all of it. We might be here 10 hours if we hear all of it.
I said at church this morning in Sinking Springs, I said, well, this is the first time I think I've ever sat down and told my whole life story. I've never done that before. I've just bits and pieces going up and down the road or sitting in restaurants or something like that. So this is new to me too.
So what I've always wondered is, how did you actually get your start?
I was working at different factories. I worked at Pennington Bread in Worcester Courthouse, and then I went to work for National Cash Register Company in Dayton, Ohio. Mm-hmm. And on the weekends, a buddy of mine named Steve Lake, he was going to bring some country music stars into Chautauqua Park. And so I said, well, I sing, and I can help you promote. I can help put posters up around Hillsboro, Marshall, Sinking Springs, and that area, if that'd help you up here around Franklin any. And he said, sure, I need all the help I can get. So I started helping him. And
so how much did you sing at that point?
How much have I sung? Or?
Well, not at that point, when you first started meeting with Steve. Like just at church?
Steve Lake and Swing Masters had a place called Chautauqua Park, and they'd bring these stars in, mm-hmm. Grand Ole Opry star, and then he had 2 or 3 guests he'd bring out, and I was one of the guests, maybe one mm-hmm. or 2 songs each Sunday or every other Sunday or maybe every 4th Sunday or whatever. He had them on the Sunday afternoon. You know, he had the Porter Wagner show there. He's had Buck Owens. He's had Merle Haggard. He's had all the stars in country music at that time there at Chautauqua Park, and it was quite a draw there. But the ticket price was real low. It wasn't very much at all. But anyway, I was singing there at the park, and Steve said, "You do voice impersonations. Won't you start throwing one of them, like sing you a song, and then leave the stage with one of your voice impersonations?" So I was doing an impersonation of Hank Snow, or I do one of Johnny Cash, and then I got talking like Mel Taylor's, and he was my MC, and he'd bring out a Grand Ole Opry star, and well, this one day we done Walter Brennan, the old movie star, Walter Brennan, and we did an old song about old rivers and me, and the crowd went, whoa, they kind of fascinated by it. I was going to sing a song, and then we was going to clear the stage for Jerry Lee Lewis. And I told Steve off stage, I said, only thing I want to do today is say hi to Jerry Lee. That's all I want to do. Well, as we started leaving the stage, they kept applauding. They wanted me back. I thought, no, he's coming up next. No, they want you back right now. Do more of your impersonations. So I come out and did Whispering Bill Anderson, Bright Lights and Country Music song. And Jerry Lee come out of the dressing room and said, "Who's this skinny little runt coming out there stealing my audience? Ha!" And he said, "Well, that's old Puckett. He does these voice impersonations." And he said, "He can just go to work for me if he wants to." Jerry Lee said. So I'm singing the song. I get another good round of applause. I said, "That's it. Jerry's going to kill me if I don't get off stage. I got to get out of here." So I was really nervous at that time, and I said, "Steve, did you get set up to me to meet Jerry Lee?" He said, "Yeah, he wants to hire you." I said, "What?" He said, "He wants to hire you." So I come backstage, and he said, "Where are you working at?" I said, "National Cash Register Company. Make them cash registers in Dayton, Ohio."
How old are you at this point?
I was about 25.
Okay.
And Steve said, and Jerry Lee said, "Well, what kind of money are you making?" I said, "Well, I make about $150 a week." He said, "You're making $300 now." So I went to work
Deal.
for $300. I said, "Where am I living at? What am I doing?" And I thought, man, I better think this over a little bit. I can't leave with you today because I got NCR and I got 4 years in. So I went to Dr. Cutright and asked him if I could get something for this allergy I still got today. And he told me to get leave of absence.
Hold on a second. You good now?
Yeah. He told me to get a leave of absence for 6 months to go to Phoenix, Arizona or somewhere and get this cleared up. So I took that time off and went to work with Jerry Lee. And but I called him and said, "Yeah, I'll work and I'll make $300 a week. So is that cash or house paid?" I talked to his road manager, and then after we got out there, I was singing a few shows. I was warming up a few shows for him. And he paid me $300 a week. And then we get to Cobo Hall in Detroit. Connie Smith's on the show. Farron Young's on the show. Take a break, put Jerry Lee Lewis on. He come back and said, "Puckett, we can't get you on today." I said, "What about my money?" He said, "Can't pay you today. Can't pay you this week." Oh, good. I've quit my job. I've not making no money this week. There was a bunch of brochures about this size, land back. Well, I had them in the plane actually. So, but I got this. We went out to get some albums or something out of the plane, and I had them bring the brochures in, and they was only worth about a dime, and I sold them for $2. And I had a 5-gallon bucket I put it down in. I had a whole bucket full of money. And everybody's saying, "Look at Puckett's bucket. It's full of money." And I thought, well, that's the thing to do. Jerry said, "Yeah, you can have all that. You can have all that money."
You probably could have trademarked that. Puckett's bucket.
I know. But you can too. You can do the same. But I thought of it first now.
You'll get a royalty.
Yeah, I know about royalties. I'm still looking for that check. The thing was, the next tour, that was the end of that tour. The next tour, we went out with Twitty Conway, and he had a hit out called Hello Darling, and he had his plane. Hello Darling was the name of his plane. We flew in this old DC-3, the DC-3 plane, and it got really run down, so we took it in to get it all repaired and all shaped up. While I was in there, some company had a DC-3. Said, Jerry, your plane all look like this one over here. Said, man, this is a really nice DC-3. Some company in Memphis had it. Jerry said, I'll just buy this one. So they did. He bought it. And that plane there was, they was trying to get somebody to buy it. And they said, Ricky Nelson's wanting the plane. So they called him, and he bought Jerry Lee's old plane. And unfortunately, that's the one he went down in and was killed in. But it wasn't the plane's fault. The plane was in good shape. It was the conditions that he left in that night that killed him. They told him not to fly out. He had to get out. So that was a tragedy.
So you're not even 30 years old yet, and you've already met Jerry Lee Lewis and Conway?
Conway.
But not only met Jerry Lee Lewis, you performed with Jerry Lee Lewis, and the crowd asked for you.
You to stay on.
You're on the bill with Jerry Lee Lewis, and the crowd wants you.
Well, the crowd wanted me when I was with Steve Lake and the Swing Masters before I met Jerry Lee Lewis. I was on stage with this band right here, Steve Lake and the Swing Masters.
Okay.
And then we met Jerry Lee at that show. And so about 4 months later, I quit NCR and went to work with Jerry Lee Lewis. And that was in the 70s, and I worked with him for about 2 years. So he was really good to me. He's good-hearted. The only person Jerry Lee Lewis ever hurt in his life was himself. He didn't really hurt a lot of other people. He just hurt himself by his habits. He had bad habits, in my opinion. One thing I'll throw in here right now, I've traveled 7 million miles, worked 7,000 shows. I've never smoked a cigarette. I've never had a bottle of beer. I've never drunk wine.
I can attest to that.
Never had drugs my whole life. So
That's saying a lot, because being in this industry, even then, like, it was everywhere.
Right.
And then 2 notches later, I'll talk about him. Merle Haggard was with him, and there was a lot of partying going on there too, and I never did touch it.
So was because I know his stage show, Jerry Lee Lewis is like he's full of all this energy. Was he the same off stage as he was on stage, or was he more toned down?
Yes and no. If the whiskey kicked in, he was. If the whiskey didn't kick in, he was dull.
Fair enough.
But we like I say, we flew in that plane with his sister Linda Gale Lewis and all the Memphis Beats. The Memphis Beats was the name of the band, and they put me on from time to time. And I never will forget. My mother, Nettie Ellen Puckett, and my sister Dolores, they wanted to meet Jerry Lee. So we went out to a park in Indiana, and Jerry Lee said, "Put Puckett on today. Mother and sister's here. Come on, put him on." So I sung 2 or 3 songs, and I always sung this song called Freight Train. And Jerry Lee walks in on the song, and then the crowd just burst out, just goes nuts.
Yeah.
Well, I was singing this song, Freight train, going so fast. I just kept singing. Where is he? And I said, take a break, band. They went ding, 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 and back to again, freight train. Oh, Lord, I'm going over this song again. Where are you at, man? So anyway, we ended the song. He never did arrive. I go back stage, and my mother is an Avon representative, and she was back there selling him Avon. Back then, Avon had these bottles out with cologne in them, and aftershave lotion. They shaved for a car. There were 6 different ones. And Mother said, "How many you want?" 6 of them. I want 6 of them.
Meanwhile, you're waiting for him to come on stage.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to come on stage. He's back there with me. But he ended up ordering 6 of each one of them bottles, and said, "Well, Puckett will bring it back down someday." But we eventually got him out there, and I said, they're wanting you. But Ken Lovelace took over. He's still with him today. Ken is fiddle player, guitar player. Great man. But, man, those were fun days, I'm telling you.
So were you around Jerry Lee Lewis when his Graceland arrest took place?
Which one?
Tell me more.
I was with him. Yes, I was staying down at his house, and
I mean, hopefully you weren't the driver or anything like that.
no, he was driving a Corvette. We got in a Corvette, and we were going to go over and see Elvis,
Mm-hmm.
and we was over to the Hernando's Hideaway at the club, and he was in there singing. I was in there singing, and we started home. He said, "I'm gonna go see Elvis." I said, "What time is it?" It was about 2:30 in the morning. Not a good time. See the king. so he goes up to the gate. And he hollers at the gate. He said, "Hey, this is the killer, Jerry Lee. Let me in." "I can't, Jerry. The place closed." Well, you see the gate right there.
Yeah.
And they have to hit a button. That thing goes boom, like that. Well, he backs out in the middle of the street, lays it down low range, and shoots right up that street. That guy said, "Maybe I better open it, or we're going to get knocked down." Just as he went by, I bet he didn't miss both sides of that gate that an inch. We shot up around there, and he comes running in the back door and hollering for Jerry Lee. He got in the house. I didn't. But by that time, the Memphis police had got there with dogs and everything else, and the dogs were on my side of the door. So I didn't get out.
When I asked this question, I didn't have any idea that he was actually with him.
So they said, no. Said, "Who are you?" I said, I'm Dayne Puckett." He said, "Who you with?" I said, "Jerry Lee Lewis." said, "Well, where's he at?" I said, in the house
question.
somewhere. I don't know where he's at. I said, "We just come from Hernando's Hideaway." So they just shook their head, and they said, "Well, you're going to have to go get him." I said, "No, I ain't going to go in that house. Not with dogs around, the police around, and I don't know Elvis at all. I'm not going in there." So anyway, they went in and got him. And Elvis happened to be in there, and he was in there with Ann Margaret. So anyway, they got him back out, and we went home, and they told us that, "Jerry, we won't say a lot about this if you just go home." So we all calmed it, but that's many, many years ago. I hope they don't open that case up again.
So what was going on in this particular picture? That's Steve Lake, isn't it?
Yeah, we bought a van with me and Steve Lake of Franklin, Ohio, the guy I started show business with.
Mm-hmm.
There's Elvis. It was an Elvis murals all around that van, and we bought it pretty reasonable, and then we decided to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought the ideal place to sell it would be down in front of Graceland. So we took it down there in front of Graceland on his 44th birthday. And lo and behold, that picture right there got on Walter Cronkite News. And tonight in Memphis, Tennessee, Elvis Presley will be 44 years young. And there to celebrate the birthday was Steve Lake from Franklin, Ohio, and Dayne Puckett celebrating Elvis Presley's birthday. I thought, Dayne Puckett and Elvis Presley, all in one line from Walter Cronkite. Whoa. Did I hear that right? And that's the way it is. So, and I thought that was a pretty wild story, but we did sell that down there. Did sell it to an old boy coming in with a plaid coat on, short. He had on his best dress pants, but they were about that far short from his shoe top. He had this good-looking young blonde with him, and she wanted to buy it. And he was strutting that money, boy. He really had the money. He did come up with the money, and we sold. We made a little money off of it. But we'd take that thing down the road, and people just blow the horn at us and wave at us and everything else. Cause it was all Elvis stuff all around it, inside of it and everything. It was a pretty neat band. So that was a lot of fun.
So how does Charley Pride start to come into the picture?
Well, in 1971, I was singing at Frontier Ranch in Columbus. No, well, I was singing there too, Frontier Ranch, Columbus. Also, I was singing at the Ohio State Fair. I was on this show called the WMNI Country Cavalcade. Every Saturday night we'd have a show. Well, they said when the Ohio State Fair is on this year, we will go to we'll go out to the fairground. We'll have our WMNI Country Cavalcade show out there. And they wanted me to do my impersonations, stuff like that. So Charley Pride was the guest at the fair that day. So I'm up there singing, and I seen this guy, a couple of guys standing over there by the post. They come walking down there, and I was singing along, and I told him I was, with Jerry Lewis show. So about that time, the show got over with, and he came around there, and this guy came around and said, "My name's Bobby Smith. I'm the concessionaire manager for the Charley Pride show." He said, "You worked with the Killer, huh?" I said, "Yeah." Everybody calls Jerry Lee the Killer. I said, "Yeah, I do." And I said, "Well, right now we're off because he's kind of changing over from rock and roll to religious, and because he went through this divorce with his 34th cousin, Mara, I guess her name was. and we, right now we're at a standstill." He said, "Where are you going right now?" I said, "I'm getting ready to go home," because I said, "I'd like to see the Charley Pride show. You can't get in. It's sold out." He said, "How would you like to sell merchandise for Charley today?" I said, "Yeah." That's just what I wanted to do. Sure. So he said, "Well, go with me." So I put my guitar up, and I don't play much guitar, but I was back in. I was strumming a little bit. So I put that up and followed him over, and walked backstage, met Charley, and talked with him. He started talking baseball, and we're standing back there talking baseball. "Oh,
He
that
played-
old Pete Rose, huh?"
He
"Oh,
played
what?"
several years in the Negro Leagues, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was pretty good. Later on, maybe after I was with him 10 years, but later on, he got saying, "Well, I can out-hit old Pete Rose." No, can't out-hit him. "Oh, yeah, I can. I'm pretty good hitter, So his wife, Rosine, come out one day, and I was asking Rosine, I said, "Charley, was he a good baseball hitter?" She said, "Oh, pretty good." "Oh, he told me he could out-hit Pete Rose." "Oh, no, he cannot hit Pete Rose. He can't even hit the Dallas area code." I said, "Well, what is the Dallas area code?" She said, 214. I said, "That's not a very good average." But no, I went and worked for him that day. I mean, about 50,000 people up there, and I made quite a bit of money. And I come home, and they wanted to hire me, and I said, "Well, I don't win Jerry Lee's going back to work." And we didn't have a lot of merchandise, although I was buying stuff from Mercury Records to sell back then.
So Charley Pride had 29 number one hits and 52 in the top 10. So what are Charley Pride's crowds like? It seems like it would just be slammed every episode.
Yeah,
every
he
show.
does good, but he's not like a Garth or anything like that. I mean, you can't pack him in like that. But I'd say 10, 12,000 people most nights. You can fill up any auditorium, 7 to 15,000, pretty regular.
And you're having shows are how often?
I don't think he does a lot anymore. I don't know.
I mean then.
Back then, well, we was working at least 20 days a month.
Wow.
That's a lot of shows.
Yeah, it's a hell of a lot of shows.
And he had a plane also. He had a real nice plane. But he was when I went to work with him, he was entertainer of the year, and he was male artist of the year. He had the top song of the year, "Kiss an Angel Goodmorning." He had the top album of the year. And he said, "Hey, Puckett, I want everything but female vocalist of the year." I said, "Work on it." "Oh, we gonna get it too." He'd always, but he always come up to me and asked me for nuggets. He never carried any money. He said, "You got any nuggets?" I ain't got no money. And so I was eating breakfast one morning. He came over and got some of my bacon off my plate. I said, "Charley, you want some breakfast I'll get? Oh no, I just see if I can put your bacon, you know. I don't know. I said, well, here's some toast. And yes, oh, I like that toast. Mm. So he walks his way back through the kitchen. There's maids back there. They back there, and they said, hey, I'm Charley. Got any coffee? Charley Pride's in the back here. So he walked back there. He getting coffee and stuff back there in the back. But that's just the way he was. He just everybody loved him. So just keep walking on, you know.
So what are family and friends back home thinking? You're this guy from Sinking Spring, and all of a sudden you're only in your 30s at this point, and you're touring around with these huge acts. I mean, that's totally out of nowhere.
I don't know. It was just going from one act to the other, and money started flowing in a little bit, and I kind of got involved with girls. And I come home one time. Mom said, "You got a $700 phone bill here," and I said, "I know. I've been talking a lot." So. But I was very fortunate to have some nice looking girls, friends, and that I don't know. It just one show was leading to another, and we were doing good with our sales crew. And
did you feel like you're like in a whirlwind during this time, or is it just like, well, this is just what I do now? This is my day job.
Just a day job. Just the way I felt. It's just another job. We just do different things than the average person does. I liked it because I used to get dressed up and go out to concerts and pay, and now I got dressed up and go out and got paid for it. So it's just, you know, save your money and be part of it. We worked with them about I worked only 10 years, but overall, but then we started mixing in the artists. That's about 75. We got Merle Haggard involved. He wanted us to work with his merchandise.
So did he jump on? Is he touring with Charley Pride? Or
no, he had his own.
Separate?
He had his own separate thing. And with the Bobby Smith organization, there was, of course, me, and then he had two nephews out of Detroit, and they had some friends. Of course, I had my brothers Jerry and Donnie. I had them out selling with me once in a while, if I'd go out with an artist. And then later on, we got the sales of Barbara Mandrell. We also got the sales of Dolly. So in that 10 or 12 years stretch here, we had 3 or 4 acts we had to go out with. So I was just going back and forth different ones. I know.
So what was your responsibilities? Was you at a booth or was you walking around?
Both. We had tables set up in the lobby, and we had them. And then we grind the owls, what we call grind the owls, with merchandise. We usually start out with the programs, our merchandise program. I don't know if I got that one. I thought I had that one there. Well, we'll scan that later.
Yeah, we'll show a picture.
The Merle Haggard program. Charley Pride had a book out. We sold them for $5. And then we had the table set up.
So on top of Charley Pride's 20 or so shows a month, you had on Merle Haggard's.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're doing all of these at the same time?
Yeah, we're doing all of them. Yeah, we got him, and then we took on Dolly and Barbara. So there was several of us. We'd have to get our own crews and go out with them, see. So we stayed pretty busy. So
how can, it would seem like you would need to be in 3 or 4 different places at one time.
Well, no, I'd take a crew and go out with, like, if I had Haggard.
How many are in your crew?
Well, whatever I get, 3 or 4. Like if I got.
So these aren't like full-time.
No,
just whoever you could find.
Yeah, I think Donnie and Linda went out with me once. Jerry and
family members.
Yeah, just family members. Kyle went out with me one time.
Mm-hmm.
Just whatever I could get, and then maybe if I needed any more, I'd get some house help, and we pay the house help a very small percentage, but they enjoyed it anyway.
So was there ever any other carbon copies of you that were doing this, or are you orchestrating all these sales?
Yeah, me and Bobby Smith. Yeah, we'd say who we're going out with, then what merchandise we're going to sell, and what house, and what venues. We just figure out how many thousands of people are going to be at each venue, and kind of go accordingly. Sometimes I was traveling with the artist. Sometimes I just get in the van. I'd take a van and go out loaded with merchandise, but you couldn't hardly get along in the plane anyway, or a bus. It had so much. So Haggard was hot too. I mean, he had gobs of hits. The Okie from Muskogee was a
38 I read. 38 number one hits.
He had a ton of them. So
did you want to talk a little bit about this album cover that you have?
yeah, if we make it through December, that's what a selling album that was, especially from November on. We sold that all year long now, all year long. Most people on Merle Haggard would come up and say, "Let me see what I don't have," and they'd buy what they'd buy.
Whatever there was.
These 5 albums here, I ain't got those. These new or old or well, this one brand new. Well, give me all 5 of them. You know, they'd say they want them all. So, I mean, he was just a powerful sale. And T-shirts, my lands of T-shirts we sold on that guy. You get a box of T-shirts. I don't know what goes in a box. 144. Well, you'd sell a box of T-shirts in 20 minutes. Back then, I think shirts were $15 a piece. Man, sell them just as fast as you throw them out.
So what was Haggard like off stage?
Very to himself. He was very quiet, off to himself. He was always seemed like he was writing a song. Seemed like everything was like, I can't bother him right now because he's writing a song, I think.
The one article, I read one article, I think it was in the Defender, you talked about it was like he kind of had visions.
Oh, yeah. He definitely had visions. yeah, he did. He'd been through a lot. And he had a great band, boy. He had a powerful, good band. The Strangers, they was called The Strangers, because All of My Love's Gonna Be Strangers, that hit song. But the band was good. Norm Hamlet on the steel guitar, Roy Nichols on lead guitar, and Biff Adams on drums. And, they was with him forever. They was the original 3 guys with him. And he started out with playing guitar for Buck Owens. Merle did, so.
Tell the story about, I think it was in that article, it was talking about how you ended up meeting with him one-on-one one evening, and then he sent you out to get some food for him.
Oh, we were in San Antonio, Texas, and it was after a show. And he told me he wanted to talk to me out to the bus and about some other merchandise. And so I come out to the bus, and I said, "You want to talk about merchandise tonight?" He said, "Yeah," but he said, "Man, I'm so hungry." He said, "Can you go get me a couple hamburgers?" I don't have no way to travel. I'm in San Antonio. I don't get here but once in a lifetime. So sure, oh yeah, I'll go get you a couple. So I started to go, and I thought, man, I've got merchandise money. I don't have no more I'm not going to do. I said, "Merle, I don't have no personal money. I got your money. You want me to take it out of that?" "No, here, let me give you some money." So he handed me a $100 bill. So I go get a cab, and we go out. I said, "Need a couple hamburgers so I got him some other food. I got him a pie or some fries. If he didn't want them, he could throw them away. I had enough money. So we come back, and I said, "Merle, I forgot to ask you. Here's your food. I forgot to ask you if you need anything to drink." He said, "No, I got plenty of drink on me. You want that? I got plenty of drink." But then I gave him his merchandise money, and also I started leaving. I said, "Hey, I forgot to pay you back your change for your hamburgers. I'll just keep that as a tip." I think it came about $78 or something like that.
And you're still making $300 a week?
No. Those days are gone.
Okay.
No. That was a one-time deal. I just worked on percentage the rest of my life after that.
Okay.
On the Jerry Lee thing. No, Jerry Lee, on the Conway Twitty thing, getting back to that, we started selling these flyers for $2 with Twitty, and they wasn't selling anything, and I had a lot of money, and I was making more money than the band. Charlie said, I got to cut you back to 50%. Ha! How you like that? I said, 50%. So I come back 2 weeks later, making too much money, Puckett. Cut you to 20. Take it or leave it. Okay, 20. So that's where I stayed. I said, this is your last cut. Next cut, I'm going back home. And so anyway, 20%, and that's the way it's been the rest of my whole life, 20%.
So how often are you going back home during all this?
Depends on what act and what dates. And Charley probably would take some breaks. He'd take maybe half a month off or a month and a half off, and it kind of depends on the peak of his songs. If his songs just getting in the charts, wait till they start rising a little bit, get a little far in them, and everybody hear the new song, boom, back out with a tour, pow, you sell, and then the promoters had to line up all these auditoriums and coliseums, and it's a lot to a show, a lot to get a show going, a lot to promote one.
Sure.
On Merle Haggard, we had a promoter he's a movie star named Bob Eubanks. I don't know if he's a movie star or not, but he's on television. They had a Newlywed Game, and when he'd go back to do the Newlywed Game, and I was out there with Haggard, I had to do the pitch, the merchandise and the pitch and everything. So that was kind of cool. And we had Marty Robbins open the show for us. We had Marty and Merle. I told him we ought to get M&M candy as sponsors, Marty and Merle. And
not the rapper.
And I said, no, not the rapper. Marty Robbins, Merle Haggard. And I would bring on Marty Robbins and take him off, and then put Merle on, take him off, and then we'd tell about merchandise. And he's had different guys to open for him. Talking about open for Charley Pride, see, he was king of RCA. Then any of these new artists come out, like Gary Stewart on RCA, Ronnie Millsap on RCA. He had them on the show. In fact, they was in his band, the Prizemen. They played piano. And then they got hot and they got on their own. Jeannie Pruitt was on RCA. She opened with us. The four guys from the Opry was on there. Who else? Nat Stuckey. He opened for us one time. Sweet thing.
So sort of halfway through your Merle Haggard run, Dolly Parton comes into the picture. What are you feeling like when you first meet Dolly Parton? 'Cause I think I would faint.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't think of them. I don't look at them like people look at artists.
You just look at them like normal, just
They're
like coworkers
They're just
almost.
part of my job.
Yeah.
They're just part of your job.
You were never starstruck from anybody.
I don't think I was ever starstruck because they did their job and I did mine. I always
Well, hell, you were sitting on Elvis's front yard, so.
Yeah, I think once you get to the point where you're in Jerry Lee Lewis's car and you're breaking into Elvis's house, it all kind of goes out the window.
I think it's I'm just as professional at selling as they are singing. So that was my job. That was my profession, is to sell. And Mom said, won't you sing more? I said, I got a singer. I just need to sell. And so she always wanted me to sing. She always said, Dayne, you sing. So.
But you weren't too concerned about actually striking fame yourself.
Didn't make any difference to me. It didn't make any difference to me. So I just thought, whatever God's got in store for me, that's what I'm doing. I just keep going with His guide, But in the 70s there, where we at here? We worked with, in the 60s, I worked at Paint Valley Jamboree. In the 70s, Chautauqua Park, and that was very start. And then we got into Jerry Lee Lewis, Charley Pride, Ronnie Millsap, Dolly, and Barbara. So, but Dolly was a treat to work with.
Pull that mic up a little bit closer to you, Dayne. Just saying.
We traveled right on the road with her, And this one story that I know nobody ever knows about this. We was I don't know where we was at, way out west somewhere. We was traveling along. You couldn't make phone calls till you got to a truck stop or something like that. So she wanted to know if we gonna stop at a restaurant pretty soon. I said, I don't know. So I went up and I said, when Dolly wants to stop at a restaurant, I guess. She wanted some food. So we stopped for food. She told me what to get her, some food. I went and she said, hey, by the way, get me some beech nut chewing tobacco. I haven't chewed in a long time. So I said, really? Okay. So she got that chewing tobacco. And so we got that and we left the truck stop. And it wasn't about 2 or 3 weeks later, we was at this country music park. It must have been 115 degrees there. I mean, it was scorching hot in the summertime. This truck driver was out there. He had him bib overalls on and said, I'd give $500 to kiss that Dolly Parton. I said, how much? $500. Not enough. Well, how about $700? No. I said, well, how much you got on me? Got $800. That's what it'd take. $800 kiss her. You mean I can kiss Dolly Parton for $800?
You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
So I said, step over at the bus, go open the door. She's gonna come out, give you a kiss, but you're gonna give me the money when she starts through that bus. So I went in and told her. I said, truck driver out here wants to kiss you for $800. Who? Oh, he's a good-looking guy. I said, he wants to kiss you. He's a nice-looking guy. $800. I said, I'm going to go get the money, and I'll hold the money. Okay. So she comes walking out. He hands me the money. I open the door. She turns around and says, who is this good-looking guy? I said, right there. So he had a mouthful of chewing tobacco. And he kisses her. And she went, woof. I said, I thought you liked chewing tobacco. And she grabbed that money. I said, where's my 20%? You get nothing and proud of it. So she went running back through the bus. I said, well, you got your whoosh, she got hers. I got left out in the cold.
Orchestrated the whole thing and didn't get a dime. She just made $800.
I said, I thought you liked chewing tobacco.
That's awesome.
I can't imagine Dolly chewing tobacco.
Well, she's from down in there. Her and she sang a song about what's that? There's a song about this guy. You're just what I've been looking for. Some of the words are in that song. Joshua. That was the name of the song, and that's all about Joshua. So I think that's where she came up with some of those bad habits at. But another thing on Dolly, we were doing colleges. We were coming up through Tennessee and got over in Kentucky. We was coming into Ohio, and we're riding along, and I'm back there in my bunk asleep. She wakes me up and peeks through the curtain and says, hey, you remember them? How far are we from your mom? I said, God, I don't know where we're at. I said, we're somewhere in Kentucky. We're going to Middletown, Ohio, to do a show. How far is that out your way? I don't know. I don't know how he could cut over to Sinking Springs to go to Middletown. I said, Sinking Springs, Middletown is only about an hour and a half. And she said, well, see if she'll fix us up a chicken noodle dinner, and we'll swing in there tomorrow. I thought, oh, right. So we stopped the next truck stop. So I called Mom. I said, Mom, Dayne, are you all right? I'm calling her 3 o'clock in the morning. It's not a regular call. Are you okay? Is Dolly okay? She asked for Dolly first. She asked about Dolly. I said, what about me? And you had a wreck? You've had a wreck. Give me, slow down. Dolly wants to come by the house tomorrow. What? She wants to come by the house tomorrow. She wants to know if you can get them chicken noodle dinner tomorrow. Chicken noodle, I got I got to get up and roll the dough out. It takes a while to fix noodles. I said, she just asked me a while ago if you can or you can't. Yes, bring her in here. I said, well, can you have dinner? What time you be here? I said, about 11 or 12. All right, bring her in. So she gets up and drives to Kroger's in Hillsboro and gets all the stuff, brings it back down, starts the cooking, gets the house all cleaned up, and gets the bathroom all straightened up.
If she only made chicken noodles, I'd be shocked.
And she made everything, everything. She made the whole trimming and everything. And sure enough, she had the place looking good. And so we bring the bus into Sinking Springs and
yeah, talk about this picture really quick.
well, that's after we left the house.
Oh, okay.
After we left the house, I'll tell about that picture. But anyway, we pull into the house up there behind on Chestnut Street in Sinking Spring, right by my church I attend.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, Mom's greeting Dolly, and she's saying hello. She had two sisters on there. Rachel was one of them. I forget the other girl's name. And she had Louis Owens, her uncle, was on there. Randy, her brother, was on there. She had a bunch of relatives. She also had a relative one time named Puckett. We went through Canada. She said, this is a saxophone player, Puckett here. He's my cousin. Well, she said, who's this Puckett here? She said, oh, he's my kissing cousin. Then she laughed. But anyway.
Did you have to pay $800 when you kissed her? Or no?
Yeah, no. Didn't have enough tobacco.
But just think about that, because I think that'd blow people's minds around here. At one point, somebody went to Hillsboro to buy stuff to make dinner for Dolly Parton.
This would be like Taylor Swift rolling into town.
Yeah, like that's insane.
And not the 15-year-old version of her that played at the festival.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift now.
And after dinner, we went out and we started to go around the bend there. And I said, Dolly, pull over. I want to take a picture of that corporation limit sign. I said, I know you're probably going to be back here. And I said, it'd be a thrill for me. So I had my Dolly Parton hat on.
Is this across from your place now?
Now it is, yeah. Back in the left corner.
Right, now.
You can see my place now.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a Dolly Parton hat on. I had my arm behind me. I'm holding the hat. Of course, I'm holding her with one arm and that hat with the other.
Mm-hmm.
And the corporation limit sign, the bus, it says Dolly on it. That's the coach we traveled in. And we took that, and I got in several papers, not just Highland County, went all across the country.
Sure.
She was female vocalist of the year at that time.
What year was this?
That's 77, I think.
77.
78.
So she writes on here, "Whoop whoop, my love."
Mhm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, she wrote that one in there. She always put, "I will always love you," and she told me I got the third autograph she ever autographed anybody. That too. Porter was one of her relatives the other, and I got the third one.
Wow.
I will always love you, Dolly Parton. That was pretty special.
Yeah, I think she was sincere about that too. I think she did love you.
We had a lot of fun, but then the Hollywood people come in. She started making movies and stuff like that, and
yeah,
the butterfly flew away.
Yeah.
she sort of had a transition into pop in the late 70s, right? Sort of.
Yeah, I'd say 9 to 5 got up there.
Yeah.
And
yeah, 9 to 5 comes out in 1980, which was a year after.
Of course, the movie, she had the
Mm-hmm.
movie at 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And she is worth a lot of money. I forget, they listed 5 artists. She had more wealth than 5 artists, and I couldn't believe the artist. I hate to miss them, because if I get one of them wrong, I'm wrong. So there were some pretty big names in the business, and I couldn't believe she'd made that much money.
Yeah, Dolly Parton's net worth right now is $500 million.
Yeah, I thought they said
I just
at
pulled it up too.
one time there she was edging 400, so I didn't know. But she just recently produced a show in Nashville, 50 Years at the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah.
She produced that. And
She also just came out with, I don't know if it's going to be on Netflix, it's on one of the streaming channels where they're taking her songs and they're making them into small TV shows about those songs.
Oh yeah, I watched.
Like they're going to take, like, I don't know what one of the songs, but
Jolene,
Jolene, and
yeah.
they're going to make
That's
an
the first
episode
episode.
about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it's out. I started to watch the first.
Oh, is it
episode.
out? Is
Yeah,
it on
it's out.
Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay.
When's the last time you've like contacted her or any of these?
Well, my contact was through Louis Owens, her uncle, but he
Okay.
has passed away. So he's
Mhm.
been gone now for, I don't know, 7, 18 years, something like that. So,
Mhm.
and her road manager, he's well, not road manager, her manager, he could get me in there too. And now I have no contacts. That's my trouble. I don't even know really where she's at. And Rachel and them, I don't know where they even live at or anything anymore. So it just music business just flies. I mean, it's like it's on a shoestring. It can snap any time. You know.
Yeah, not
everything-
even that. Like back then, it wasn't as easy to keep in contact with people
Right.
as it is now.
Yeah, that.
And we can hope by the power of social media when this episode is released that by some miracle she can actually hear
Yeah,
us discussing this. Would be
Bring her
really
back
cool.
to Sinking Springs. Get
Yeah.
another picture.
Sinking Spring Round 2.
Dayne Puckett,
She can
Dolly.
come to Newmarket next time.
Yeah. Set new market on fire. Dayne Puckett, Dolly Parton, the things we got's the same two initials, DP and DP.
It's meant to be.
Dallas Puckett. You can be in
Yeah.
there. Dr. Pepper. Dave Parrott. I mean, a lot of people.
So did you have a little downtime after, well, I guess you're still touring with Charley Pride during all this time, right? So when your time with Dolly ends, that's when Reba starts to come, right?
No, actually, Barbara Mandrell
Okay.
was next, and worked with her for about 2 years. She just come off a television show, Barbara Mandrell and the Mandrell sisters, and she was doing pretty good. She sold really, really good, and I was going back and forth between her and Haggard at that point, and still with Charley, you know. Then in 1980, that's when we switched over, and they said this redheaded girl out of Oklahoma was going to really be a star named Reba McEntire, and they want top sales crews, and I was one of the first they negotiated. I said, well, is she going to work like 3 days a year or 300 days a year? I don't know. I said, I ain't got a whole lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
So they said, well, they want you to sell for her. So I squeezed in time to leave these others and go to work with Reba. I was out there about 2 or 3 years. It's either called Bauckham or Iceman is the name of the company. And they was coming in giving these artists millions of dollars for their merchandise. That's the first I ever heard of it. I never heard of that. And I was out there selling. I mean, I was going through the aisles, and I had the table set up, and I was doing my professional pitch on stage that I could do it. I was motivating. I went to 5 different sales schools in my lifetime. Took the Dale Carnegie course and everything. Motivation. The one thing you don't want to do out there on sales is have too much to sell. I don't want shoppers. I want buyers. And I was throwing, do you want a black T-shirt or a white T-shirt? Or do you want the latest album, or you want all their hits? But it only backfired on me a few times when we worked with Haggard. We had to take gobs of stuff out there because people had so much of his material already bought. So you had to give them something. But when they just come and cram your table there, you're only there for just a little while. You just got to give them this or that. You put it up there, and I want this and that.
So you want quick hits. As quick as
hitters,
possible.
yeah, and merchandise. So that's what we got into with Reba. But anyway, this company bought her out, and Norval Blackstock was her husband then. He's not now. He was then. He called and said, "I hate to tell you, we got to change over, and we hate to lose you. We really do, because we know we'll never see another salesman like you. And pleasure to work with. Really enjoyed it. Thanks for your time." Said Reba even cried about it. Said she can't leave Puckett. Just
See,
can't leave.
I only got one question about Reba McEntire. Was she as amazing as I pictured her being in my head as a child?
If you in her mind, she knew what she wanted. She didn't know quite how to deliver it, but through Norval Blackstock and all of the people around her, yeah, they got it done. And but she had great imaginations, no doubt about that. And, she sung a little bit sharp at times, and they had to watch that on her. But like I say, her shows were polished, boy. I mean, they would get these rehearsal rooms, and they go over and go over and go over and go over. I know when I started coaching down there at Peebles, I had this freshman team at Peebles there a few years ago. And the guys say, why do you keep going over the same plays all the time? I said, you know why? Because Reba McEntire, when she would go out on the road, she would practice one song and the show. Then she'd do that one song, make sure it was perfect. Then she'd do the show. Then she'd do the show. And she kept doing this in the rehearsal room. Because when she hit that stage, she wanted it perfect. And so our record that year at Peebles, I only lost 4 games and won all the rest of them. And everybody said, how did you get that team to play that good? Because you really don't have that good of talent. I said, well, I just keep going over the same plays all the time, all year long. The kids hated it. They hated it. It was boring. Just like the band members.
But they could do
playing
those
the
plays
same
in their
old
sleep.
song, same old song, same old song. But man, when they got on stage and the reviews were just perfect and the sales, I mean, were through the roof, then that's why you rehearse till you drop.
I learned in the research I did for this episode that she has the most #1 hits of any female country artist.
Really?
Oh, I believe that. Now, when you did her tours, it was before all like the major hits, right? Or was it right around the time when she started coming in?
She was when I was with her, she had just one female vocalist a year.
But like I'm a Survivor, Fancy, Somebody Should Leave, that all come.
Fancy's my jam. If I'm alone in the car, I'll jam out to that.
Why you gotta be alone, man?
And you guys know more about hits over than I do. But that was in 80, 81, and then when they left, they said they hated to see me go. That was on a Monday. They called me, and Tanya Tucker told me one time. She said, "If you ever leave any of these girls to sell, call me. You're immediately going to work." So I called her on a Tuesday. I said, "You remember that statement you made about me?" She said, "Yes." I said, "When am I immediately going to work?" She said, "Can you get to Nashville Thursday?"
Oh my gosh.
I said, "That gives me a whole day to get ready." "Sure, I'll be there." And we left out on a 15-day tour on Thursday. Went out Texas and California and out through there. The longest I was ever on the road and without coming home was 50 days.
Wow.
Did 48 shows in 50 days. That's when I was with Haggard and Pride and Dolly. Because I was going. I went across the United States back and forth 3 or 4 times, and I went this way about 5 times. From
North and south.
Were you just exhausted?
Well, Dr. Cutright says there's several ways to kill yourself, and there's several ways to burn a candle. He said, there's this end of the candle and that end of the candle, plus you got split and you're burning in the middle too. So he said, you're doing the best job you can do to kill yourself. He said, you living on whiskey or dope? I said, nope, don't take it. He said, well, you're doing a hell of a job, man.
See, but back then, their tour cycles were more based off the singles, not so much whole albums, right?
Yeah, single play and album. Popularity, whatever your popularity is, if it'll draw, if you can get the people come through the gates, that's the main thing. But then I worked with Tanya there in the 80s, and then I got a little break there. I went down to visit. Me and Gary Waits went to Nashville to see we just going to Nashville. We didn't know what we was going to do. We got down there and got in the motel, and we called Jim Webb. He drove for Loretta and said, what are you doing tonight? I thought you'd come up and we all go out to dinner. He said, well, I got to take Mama, which is Loretta. He said, I got to take Mama and over to cut Hee Haw tonight. So he said, you guys just ride out with us. So he just said, you'll be the only ones on the bus because the coal miners are all, they're all driving in there. So we got in the bus, and Jim Webb was driving, and me and Gary Waits, and we stopped out there and got Loretta. and we was driving over to the Opera House. So we get there, and we're all walking in there together. She had just sprung her ankle. I don't know, getting out of the bathtub or something. So I was kind of holding on her one side, and Jim Webb was on the other, and Gary was talking to Jim Webb about Reds baseball, because he was bullpen catcher there for 10 years, and he's a big baseball fan. So we go through this, under this canopy, and in this great big door there at the Opera House, and boy, just so you know that, Loretta and lands, everybody was after and everything. Here comes Sam Lavelle, the producer of Hee Haw, and he's talking to Loretta, how you been, and everything. By the way, she's the most used guest that was ever on Hee Haw. I think she was on there like 60 times as a guest. She's a big guest. But I had a red shirt on, that Woop Woop written on my shirt. And Sam said, "Who's your friend here, Loretta?" I said, "And what's this thing here?" I said, "Oh, that's that Woop Woop song you sing, and it's a crazy song." And I'm thinking, boy, I think that should ring a bell there, Sam. I said, "I'd like to sing that on Hee Haw if you ever get time." He said, "Well, we can't get you on this segment." And said, I'll try to figure out something and get you on. He said, "Right now there's 523 guests in front of you."
So how serious are you when you even bring this up? Are you just joking around?
Just thought if I can get on, I get on.
Okay.
No, I knew I couldn't get on.
Yeah.
I knew I couldn't get on. Everybody went on Hee Haw.
Sure.
I didn't care if he was a bluegrass singer, country singer, gospel singer. Ray Charles, he was big on Hee Haw. He wasn't considered a rock, he was considered a pop singer. And then they got into baseball stars like Johnny Bench and Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris and they had all kind of, even comedians wanted on there and all kind of people. I said, "Man, I'll never get on that thing." So I come back home. He said, "If I can get you on in the spring, I'll give you a call." I said, "Okay." I said, "Yeah, boy, have to call me in there any old day now." So I'm out there mowing the yard in the spring, and on my old John Deere riding mower, and Mom comes running out of the house, hands just a waving. I'm like, "God, what happened? House on fire or what?" "Shut it down. Shut it off. Shut it off." I said, "What's going on?" "There's somebody from Hollywood, California, on the phone, something about Hee Haw or something like that. Can you make Hee Haw?" I said, "Well, yeah." She said, "Well, go in there and tell them. Don't tell me." So I go in there, and she said, "Hello, is this Dayne Puckett?" "Yeah." "You want makes that weird sound?" I said, "Whoop, whoop." I said, "Yes, it is." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Can you be in Nashville?" "Yes." "You don't even know when." "I don't care. I'll be there tomorrow." And they told me the date to be there. And said, "We'll send you more information." And said, "This is only a test trial. We don't know. We have no idea if you'll get on or not, but we'll at least try you." And I said, "Well, I thought there was 523 acts ahead of me." She said, "Yeah, but you're second on the list now."
Oh, my God.
Thanks, Loretta. Thank you. Had to be Loretta. Had to be. Nobody else knew about this but Loretta. And so we go down. And that was a heck of a time getting there. I didn't have any car to even get there in, hardly, because I didn't have the company, the van. I go to Steve Lakes, and I said, "Steve, you got to take me to Nashville. I got to cut Hee Haw." "Well, my car's broke right now. Dad's got that old Cadillac. I don't know how far it'll go." We got to Louisville in that Cadillac, and it broke down.
Oh, God.
So we go, we're trying to rent a car.
You've been 7 million miles, and now all of a sudden you can't make it from
Yeah,
here
I
to
can't make it to
Nashville.
Nashville. and so we go out to rent a car, and I said, and she told us how the bill was. Well, Steve Lake, he had quite a bit of money on. He laid out the money. He said, no, we can't take cash. Got to have a credit card. Steve said, "I don't have a credit card." I said, "Well, I've never had a credit card. I don't know what one looks like." And she said, "You guys don't have credit cards and you travel in the music business?" I said, "Yeah, but I don't have a credit card." She said, "Well, can't let you have a car." I said, "My goodness, I got to get to Nashville." I said, "What's going on?" I said, "I got to film Hee Haw." "Oh, Lord, that's my favorite show." She said, "Where you from?" I said, "Up around Hillsboro High." "That's where I'm from."
No.
She said, "I'm from Hillsboro." She said, "Name me one guy from Hillsboro that you know and things may change." I said, well, my old buddy Willard Parr. I listen to Willard Parr every morning on SRW radio. And she said, you know Willard Parr? I said, yeah. And I started telling her other people in town's name. And she said, yeah, you are from there, ain't you? I said, yeah. I was born in Highland County, Sinking Springs. I said, I can tell you everybody there. I mean, every person in Sinking Springs. And she said, just a minute. She looked in and she said, here's my credit card. I'm going to run this. You bring this car back in 3 days, it won't cost you 1 penny.
Oh, my God. Dayne, if that's not divine intervention, I don't know what is.
So I get to Nashville, and we get to the Maxwell house, 5:30 in the morning. And says be at the set 8:30 that night. So, man, that is great. I am run completely down. So I run over, and I look at that again and said, oh, wait a minute, this is 8:30 this morning. So Steve was already asleep. I said, Steve, I got to clean up because we got to be over at 8:30 this morning. No, it's tonight, ain't it? I said, no, it's a.m., not p.m. So I go in and take a shower, get ready. So then he cleans up. We get over there on the set. They said, well, we're way behind, so it's probably going to be at least 10 o'clock. So it got 10, it got 10:30 and 11, and Grandpa Jones was on front of me. He does this song with bells on his wrist and on his ankles, and he rings these bells. My Bonnie lies over the ocean. Ding, 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 ding. And he had the bells on the wrong, the one on the foot supposed to be on his wrist or something. The 29 takes, they said, Paul, there's something wrong with this song. Well, you might know I'd have it all hooked up wrong. So he looked down, yeah, I got it wrong. Got the wrong bell on the wrong place. So he put it on there, one take, boom, out. So the crew was really getting mad because they was way over on, they didn't even take a break. They was way over on dinner break. They said, now, we get to go to dinner. I said, nope, got one more artist. I said, oh, no. Said, who is it? Named Woop Woop. Oh, my God. Who is Woop Woop? What's he singing? I'm a nut? No, that figures. That figures. I'm a nut. Woop Woop. Well, get him out here. What's this going to take, 100 takes? So I'm on the set, go out there. I thought, is my voice sticky or what? I don't know if I can even sing. I don't know if I can, whoop. Well, I don't know what I can do at this point. So they come out there and they run through it. Charlie McCoy was band director, and they had Russ Hicks was on the steel guitar, and Tommy Williams played fiddle. They had the Hee Haw band. So Sam Lavella jumps in the booth there and said, go over, let's get one take here, get an even. So I go over the song just a little bit. All right, quiet in the studio, bring the boom mic down. I look up, I said, is that a live audience up there? I said, yeah, up there, that's all live audience. Oh, boy, good. Bring the mic down, quiet in the studio. Everybody on the set's looking at me. They're all looking at me. Oh, my God, Lord, please, one time, 3 minutes, Lord, 3. So they kick that song off, and I just go through it. My whoops are coming out perfect. The words are popping out perfect. I think and I'm just keep going. So the song's over, and I'm whooping way out. And Sam Lavella, he jumps out of the booth, and he looks over to Charlie McCoy. He said, what do you think, Charlie? Is the band okay over there? I mean, you're okay on the piano, and you guys are okay on the steel and the drum. Everything okay? I said, yeah. I said, how was it in the studio? Oh, it was good. He said, what are you worried about? What I'm worried about is I've heard steel guitar players, fiddle players, harmonica players. I've heard singers, yodelers. That is the first whooper I've ever heard in my life. I don't know about this. So
the first whooper.
They looked over me and said, what do you think? I said, I can't whoop any better. I said, all right, let's go to dinner. Except Puckett. You got two choices. You can sing Where Are You Tonight, or you can salute your hometown. So I said, I'll salute my hometown. So they said, well, all right, get on the set. And we're going, 2, 3, 6, 6. What are you doing? I said, counting the people in my town. Hold up. I said, what? I said, yeah, I'm just down halfway past Maine right now. And they thought I was joking. I really was counting all the people that lived in that house, and this house, and that house, and this house. Went up, corporation, come back down this way. And I said, 202. So
You sat there and counted every person in the town.
every person in that town. And then they said, all right, Hee Haw salutes my hometown, Sinking Springs, Ohio, population 202. Whoop, whoop. And then they had that salute. It's a recording thing, salute behind it. And they said, that's a take. So we're walking, all right, that's good. Said, here's a guy comes in, we never even heard of him before. He does one take on the song, one take on these other worth, and you guys been here every week and just 10, 12, 15 takes. Now what's going on here? Grady Nutt was the preacher on Hee Haw. He walks off the set, slaps me on the back, said, boy, I can tell you've done a lot of television. I said, yeah, this is my first one. And then I get everybody in town to autograph my map. 202 people.
That's really cool.
So.
And they were probably giddy to do so.
No.
No?
So it's a lot. And then after that, I went to work with a guy that had a pretty good Grand Ole Opry run there. He had a song out called "Baby's Got Her Blue Jeans On." His name was Mel McDaniel, and Mel was a little bit tough to work with. He had a different type of personality, but we sold some merchandise on him. He done pretty good. He wasn't
So tough to work with in what way?
Well, just he had certain ways he looked at things, and then he tried to direct me in my sales. And I said, Mel, I said, if you just leave me alone on the sales, it'll get done. Because I said, Pride and Haggard and Dolly and Reba, they wanted certain stuff out there, but they didn't tell me how to sell it. I said, just tell me what you'd like to have sold, and I'll get it done. And then he was worried I was making too much money. I said, no, I'm not making too much money. Trust me, because it cost a lot to get here and everything else. But most artists bought my motels, and they give me food and stuff like that. And I look back, it was a heck of a run there. But then I got to work with the Vandells. Went to work with them. I was off. I thought I was done. I thought I was done after Mel McDaniel, and I got working with other stars there. This crew out of Cincinnati, they had a sales crew out with Elvis one time, and I went out and sold 14 shows with the Elvis stuff.
Wow, that's cool.
I never seen stuff sell like that before. I mean, I sold some pretty hot artists, especially with Haggard's T-shirts. I thought they was a real hot item to sell. And Pride's Kissing Names a Good Morning album. But Elvis, I mean, I don't care if you brought out badges or bumper stickers or posters or whatever. They just flooded you with that stuff.
So what were the transitions like between one act to the next? Are they bittersweet when you leave somebody that you've spent the last, couple?
You mean the artists or the crowds?
Well, no, the artist plus, all the folks that you're, working with specific to that one act. Is it difficult to leave them to go to the next act, or is it just business?
Just business as usual. I just do my thing. Care what the product, the product's selling. I just worried about how to get it in there and get it set up and get it sold, and the pitch I'd make on stage and stuff like that. But I know one time I was working with, I went out with Conway Twitty one time, and Conway and Loretta, and a guy seen me later on with Merle Haggard show. Said, I only remember 3 people down there. It's Conway and Loretta, and some guy on the stage went whoop whoop. He said, that's only 3 people I remember on that stage. And Mel Tiller's show, Richard Tiller's come on the bus there, wasn't on Haggard's bus. We just got back in from California. We stopped there at Shoney's in Nashville, and I was tired. Opened the bus door. Hey, is Puckett on here? Everybody's asleep. Oh my God, man. So I knew it was Richard Tillis, that's Mel's brother. I crawl out there and say, hey, Richard, everybody's asleep, man. Keep it down. He said, how long you in town for? I said, we're in town. We're off for 15 days. He said, well, you just go out with old me and Mel Tillis. I said, what? He said, yeah, we're getting ready to go out. We're leaving in about 2 hours. I said, I ain't going. Yeah, you are. You're going out with us. I got to have some salesmen. I know you can sell, so you just go out with us. So, and I said, well, let me wake up. They come on there, Shoney's. Let's get something to eat. So when they were Shoney, got some coffee and stuff in me. And so I did. I went out with them and got back in just in time to leave with Haggard. And Mom said, when are you ever getting home? So it was just one show after another just got contagious, you know. Just I didn't think that fountain would ever end. But the modern way of selling now is these big companies, they're kind of dying out now because they was paying these artists way too much to get the rights to sell. Unless you're Taylor Swift or a Garth or something like that. I mean, Garth is an interesting story. There's a guy here named Eddie Pleasant. He sold for Hank Jr. And Garth opened for Hank Jr. And he was starting to, didn't sell very much the first weekend or two, maybe just a few $1,000s.
It's hard to imagine Garth opening for anybody.
And then nobody knew him, see. And then the next week he had a song that was coming out, and people started buying it, and it popped pretty good. And I think he was out there 5 weeks with him or something like that. And then he really was selling to him. And they kept saying, don't you know anybody would take Garth's sales? Said where he makes it or not, we need a guy herself. Yeah, and I know this guy named Puckett up in Ohio. He'd sell for him probably. Let me give him a call. Well, he usually just calls you right on the spot. Well, he got in his car, and he said, well, call him on the car. Well, wait to get down to the office. So he gets down to Buddy Lee Attractions. That's where they book Hank Jr. So he gets in there, and he's using their phone, and he's calling me. He's got 9375. He starts to dial all of my digits. And about that time, he starts down my last 4 digits. Jerry Rivers walks by. He used to play fiddle for Hank Wims. And he said, do you think that Garth's going to be a star? He said, no, he ain't going to be no star. He said, I don't even know if he can tune his guitar. He said, I don't like his singing. And I don't, this and that, everything he didn't like about him. And so he has the phone in his hand. He's looking at these last 4 digits for me. So he hangs the phone up. And he was willing, I think at that time, give him 20%. And here, what was it, a few years ago, he retired. Somebody said he made around $77 million that last year. I was thinking 20% of that would put me over the hump for a few weeks.
Just earlier this week, he just sold out Paul Brown Stadium in 75 minutes.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that $99.95 a ticket or something like that.
Bengals haven't done that in 3 years.
They ain't gonna do it today. Not even with Tom Brady in town. But that's my story on Garth. And boy, would I love to have him. But my name was still floating out there, top salesman in the music business. And but I got with the Vandells, and they're a local group in right there at the end of the 90 something, right in there, 90.
Early 90s, you jumped.
Yeah,
over.
very early 91 actually,
Mm-hmm.
1991. Been with them ever since. I've been with them 28 years now. So time keeps marching on.
Before we let you leave, I want to hear a couple specific stories. One of them about Janis Joplin.
That was back to the beginning with Charley Lewis. We was backstage at this club. I think it was down south somewhere in a club. It might have even been around Memphis, I don't know. And Jerry had already done a show, and he was backstage, and he had his shirt off, and he was having some drinks and stuff. And I was trying to guard the door up there too, and trying to keep an eye on my sales and everything else. And he said, "Hey, Puckett, don't let anybody in. Nobody else comes in." Okay. So I hear this knock. It wasn't on the front door. It was sounded like you opened the door and you had a hallway, and then there was looked like a door goes outside, like where a truck backs up to.
Like a dock door?
Yeah, dock door. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. And I heard that door rattling, and "Where's Jerry Lee Lewis at?" I said, "Well, he's in here in the dressing room, but you can't come in." "Well, yes, I can." I said, "Oh, really?" So we opened this door, and there was a weed. I mean, it looked like an old dock there. There was a bunch of weeds and stuff. Nobody's backed up there for years, looks like. This old girl was standing there, and she had feathers in her hair and everything. I said, "My God," and you want to see Jerry Lee Lewis. And, yeah, tell her Janice sent me. Janice is the girl. "Okay, Jerry. Girl out here in the weed patch wants to see you. Her name's Janice." "What? Janice?" "I don't know no Janice." I said, "Okay. Sorry, ma'am. He don't know no Janice." I said, "What's your last name?" "Janice Joplin." "Oh, really? Well, what are you doing out there?" She said, "They won't let me in the front door." So, and I said, "Hey, Jerry, her name's Janice Joplin." "Oh, my God, Puckett, let her in." I said, "So you just told me not to let them in." So I help her up and help her in. She gives me a big hug. She goes in there and sits on Jerry's lap, and oh, Lord, they was having a ball. And then they go in there on stage in the second show, and they sing Me and Bobby McGee together. They both had that hit out, and they just tore it up. So that's the way I met Janice. Yeah.
My dad specifically asked me to ask you about Janie Freaky.
Janie Freaky, RCA artist. Yeah, he sold for her too. Jerry did when I was with the Pride show, and he was open for these different RCA people. A Texas girl, and she married Charley Pride's road manager, Jim Prater. In fact, I just seen his phone number in there a while ago. I think she was married to Jane. No. She wasn't married to Jim Prater. She married Randy. Randy worked for Jim Prater. A guy named Randy. That's who she was married to. And nice lady. She did a lot of those commercials. She did one for Folgers Coffee, Seafood Lover and You. She did that commercial. That's how she got into business, I think, singing commercials. So.
Gotcha. Do you remember the story that Dad tells every now and then when he was selling with you about you got so flooded with sales and you were?
Oh yeah, that's Janie Freaky. We opened for Alabama. And Alabama's sales crew didn't get to the building. They were late getting there, and I knew they was way behind getting there. First of all, they didn't know where it was at, and second of all, they was running late. So I knew I had a little window there. I thought I had the whole show, but I was selling this shirt, just a little shirt that said Janie Freaky in Alabama, just little pictures of both of them on it. Well, I was selling shirts fast as we could, because it had Alabama and Janie Freaky on it. And everybody was looking for it. So, well, you got anything with just Alabama on it? I said, no, just Janie Freaky in Alabama. It's on all on the show. So we're selling them out there. They was those 3/4 length shirts,
Sure.
like baseball.
Yeah, like
shirts.
the baseball shirts. Yeah.
And so we was selling them left and right. And about that time, here come the sales crew of Alabama. They come in. They just throwing boxes inside the door. And they see me over and said, "Hey, Puckett, where we set up at?" I said, "I don't know, but I'm taking my table and running." So I said, "Jerry, get on the end of that table. We're running, boy." And I was holding on to the front of the table. He was on the back of it, had all these T-shirts. And people were trying to follow us, get their money back. And we went down there, and we run down these long steps. And I can't believe I run holding a table down these steps. It's a wonder I didn't slip and the table fell right over top of me. But we went around and got down there underneath there, and we closed all the doors. We could still hear people banging the doors. I want my money back. I want these Alabama shirts. I don't want this old stupid shirt. I said, well, you got it. You're going to keep it.
It's yours now.
But it's been a tough tour. It really was a tough tour. I said, man, I made some money here. I've got to keep this money. But I said, lady, it's a collector's item. They won't be selling no Cheney free stuff on theirs. So that's what, but, oh my. That was a rough one.
How far are we into this?
About an hour and a half.
It's pretty good. That's to be expected. So, are there any other tales that you'd like to
No, I would like to
tell
say,
before we get out of here?
I would like to say something about Bobby Mackey. He always let me sing with him down to Wilder. That he's sung in different places. Cincinnati, he was by far the top country singer in the Cincinnati area. Although he's in Wilder, Kentucky, but he's pretty well known. Garth Brooks got this song out called "Dive In." You've heard of honky tonks called dives.
Yeah, dive bars.
Dive bars. Well, that's what Garth's got out, and he's going to pick 7 of them out across the country. One of them, it was supposed to be Bobby Mackey's. They've already done 5, and I don't know, he only had 2 chances to get it. But since he's coming to Paul Brown Stadium, I know he's,
Yeah.
I doubt if he'll come in now. But he was considered that. But Bobby's got a good band, Bobby Mackey and Big Mac Band, it's called. And
He's got a haunted bar down in Kentucky too.
He says it's not. And
Everybody else says it is.
Everybody else says it is. And he's got these ghost people come in there.
Yep.
Really?
It was on the TV show that Bobby Mackey's was.
And they got these radar. I always wanted to hide behind a stage, a curtain, and go, whoop, whoop, whoop. There's one over there in that corner, I think. Kill him. No, don't kill him. No, I always wanted to do that. But Bobby said, no, he said, I just close it down, let him run it for, he gets a lot of money out of it. And then they do these tours in the basement. They still do the tours.
Yeah, I would just let him go on it then.
Second
And
business.
Yeah.
my T-shirt man was Jay Jackson. He's still my best friend in Nashville. He's printed for many artists. In fact, I was just at his home the other day. He's just bought him a Bentley automobile. I've never seen a Bentley before. And his boy just bought a late model Mercedes. And they own the T-shirt company called Screenplay. They printed for Hank Jr. and Toby Keith, and they used to do Randy Travis, all the Haggards. They had at one time 132 acts, gospel and country. They got this big T-shirt machine. They paid like $500,000 for it, and it does 12 shirts every 10 seconds or something like that.
Jesus.
It's incredible. But Screenplay's the name of it in Madison, Tennessee, and I've done a lot of business with them. But
Did we get to the story about how you got your nickname, or did we already go over that?
no, I don't even know how I know how I got into that. Started out singing at Paint Valley Jamboree. There's a guy named Leroy Pullins had this song out called "I'm a Nut," and it was hitting pretty big. It was a novelty song. It was hitting pretty big, and they were getting a lot of requests for it. Paint Valley Jamboree said, "Well, if anybody could sing, it'd be Puckett because he does voice impersonations." So they said, "Can you do that sound?" I said, "I know how to do the sound." I said, "How?" I said, "I'm going to bring a saw in, a saw, wave it back and forth. It'll go woo 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 woo." And
Hand
say,
saw.
"All right, you bring that over and bring the lyrics, and you sing the song, and we'll do the saw over here." So I'm flying up the road. I mowed the yard, and then took a shower. I said, "Man, I got to get to at the Jamboree House on Bainbridge as quick as I can get there at the Paxson Theater." So I'm flying up. I said, "Oh, man, I forgot my saw. Forgot the saw." So I go over there, and they said, "You ready for the I'm a Nut?" I said, "Yeah, I am. I forgot my saw." I said, "You mean that's what we want, that sound." And they said, "Well, can't you do the sound?" I said, I can't make that whoop, whoop. "Oh, yeah, you can. Right there it is. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, that's it. That's what we want. Whoop, whoop." Yeah, that's it. That's what we want. Forget the song. You got it. You got it. You go, okay, Puckett's going to do it. I don't know if I can do it or not.
You just did it.
So I started saying, I had to sing that song every week. And that's the song I sung on the Bob Braun television show, the Paul Dixon TV show. I was on the Ernest Tubb Midnight Jamboree 4 times. I had to sing it twice on there. I refused to sing it the third and fourth time. Hee Haw, that's what they wanted. So it's my most unfavorite song I sing.
Really?
I like to sing Ray Price and Charley Pride and Jim Reeves. Am I losing you? Songs like that, or just sing, Ray Price. And my shoes keep walking back to you. Ray Price stuff, 4 times. No, I gotta sing bee-bop, biddle-bop, bee-bop, biddle-bop, bee-bop, biddle-bop, whoop, whoop, I'm in that, whoop, whoop. I gotta sing that. I don't want to sing that song.
So then what's your opinion of the nickname that you've carried around for all these years?
No, I don't mind. It's quick.
Well, more people, if I introduce this podcast as I had Dayne Puckett on,
No.
a lot of people are going to be like, who the heck?
Yeah.
But if you say Woop Woop Puckett,
Oh, yeah.
I know that guy.
Yeah. See, I'm assistant basketball coach at Peebles, and we had two boys. They hit each other. I mean, they run into each other, and they're all over the floor. So I got to go out with a towel and clean it up. I went out to a towel the other night, and that whole place was whooping. Whoop whoop, there I go. Whoop 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 whoop. It's just quick. It's just a quick hit. And I've always said that Mom was right. Mom was right. We had the novelty. We had the whole thing. I probably should have spent more time trying to be an artist than I was a salesman, but I ain't got no regrets. It was a good run.
Well, that's one of the questions I was going to ask you. If you could go back and change anything over your entire career,
Well,
would you?
I'm sure anybody would. I would have liked to make more money. Yeah,
Sure.
I would have liked to make more money. I never had a desire. Even some of the girls I dated never had a desire to marry. Never did want to get married. Still to this day, I just like it like I am.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some people, that's the way you're supposed to live. You're supposed to be married and have a dog and a cat and some kids and enjoy life the way you're supposed to. I just go from day to day, and it's worked out good for me.
Yeah.
So the girl I know lives in Toledo, Ohio, and her name's Pat. I can't really say it's boyfriend-girlfriend situation, but she's just a good friend, and we just leave it at that. So time marches on.
Well, you and Ric Flair are the only two people I know that you think of somebody and you immediately think of a sound. Well, Dayne, I'm envious of people that can walk into a room and every person in that room immediately has a smile on their face, and you're one of those few people.
You know, it's some of them are bill collectors too. No, I don't do too bad on bills. I've got they caught me in First Stop one night. I was running through the store, and that guy said, "What are you running for?" I said, "Just as soon as I pay for this bottle of pop, I'm out of debt." I don't want to be in debt. I was in debt all the time. I walked from that cooler to that counter. I don't want to be in debt. He said, "I never heard that before."
You're one of the few.
I said, "No, because you never bet whoop whoop before either. He'll whoop one on you."
I think it's a good place to stop for this one. I know you're looking at writing a book soon.
I think we could if we could sell. I always did say all these stories and $1 will buy you a cup of coffee at McDonald's restaurant. That's been my whole philosophy all my life. But maybe some people like to hear it. Maybe they don't. But it's interesting how I got there. But I'm still from little old town of Singer Spring, population 202.
It's an incredibly unique story.
Yeah, it was good to sit here and listen for an hour and a half.
These guys barely spoke the whole time. They were just in awe this entire time. Yeah.
It's a long ride, but appreciate all three of you guys for putting up with me here for an hour and a half.
Well, again,
this is the first time I told church this morning, I said, I've never done my whole story before my whole life, and I got to go back to church tonight, and they're going to ask me how it went. They're going to ask me when it's going to be back out and how they can listen to it. So I got to get all that to them at church. So.
That's the easy part.
Yeah.
But Dallas,
yeah,
Brad,
we
Travis, I appreciate you all.
Oh, we appreciate you for
Yeah,
coming
no,
on.
this has been great. I think we'll leave it there. Dayne, I love you. And go learn something this week, guys.